Hey drummers, it's Rob Litton here from drumstheword.com. How you doing? Hope you're staying safe. Continuing with my promise to do more free lessons over the coming weeks in this quarantine period. Today I'm going to show you how to play my favourite parts, the main parts from the song On Wayward Son by Kansas, drummed by Phil Ehart. Ehart, I'm not sure how you pronounce that surname. You can download all 3 pages of the transcription from my website. And I've got for you, like I say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of the main parts, the main grooves and drum fills from the song. Have this printed out in front of you as we go through this together. I think I mentioned it. You can find a link to this PDF to my website beneath this video. Okay, so we start off with the first part. Occurs at 15 seconds, the first time Phil comes in with the drums. And he comes in with a rather unique way, rather unique drum fill. We get the bass drum being played on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and the simple flam snare drum on 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. And then we go into our first groove, a really cool riff. And Phil keeps it rather simple. He repeats the same ideas quite a few times. So this idea does get repeated the second time and then later as well, I think. So the first bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and really basic stuff. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Next bar, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and we get a little snare drum on the end of the bar on the of beat 4, which leads us into the last bar on the hi-hat, a 1. So 1 and 2, 3, 4, a 1. And what Phil plays, he plays 1 and 2, and then for whatever reason, he does it more than once, so it's obviously done on purpose. He then plays 3 and 4. He plays both hi-hats with those bass drums for the second part of the bar, 3 and 4. So slowly, those 4 bars together, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, a 1 and 2, 3 and 4. I think I played an extra hi-hat there at the end accidentally, but it doesn't really matter. So let's now hear that played up to speed without the microphone on so you can hear just the drums. Okay, the coolest part of the song occurs next at 28 seconds. This really grabbed my attention when I first heard this song years ago. We're going from eighth notes, straight eighth notes previously. The tempo isn't changing, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but when we go into these sections, we go into triplets. So instead of counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we're going to count 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. What's important to understand is that the quarter note hasn't changed tempo. We're not changing tempo, we're just going into a different subdivision, triplets, which are groups of 3 per beat rather than groups of 2 per beat. So if you listen to the quarter notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. It's a different rate of notes, but the pulse is still the same. So we're going into triplets. And if you've got 2 crash cymbals, then you can be a little bit more showy. If you've only got 1 crash cymbal, that's fine, but I've got 2, so I'm going to use 2. We play 1 and. So we beat 1 and the upbeat of the triplet, 1 and. We then go into beat 2, where he skips over the downbeat of 2 and comes in with the upbeat of 2, 2 and 3. And we go to the ride cymbal, 2 and 3 and 4, and 3 and 4. Our first bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I'm counting 1 and 2 and rather than 1 triplet, 2 triplet. I could count it that way, but it's just easier. 1 and 2. I'm just swinging the eighth notes instead. Second bar, 1 and 2, 3 and then he plays this at the end. 4 triplet. He plays all 3 notes of the triplet on the ride cymbal. 4 triplet 1, 4 triplet 1. He could be playing it double-handed, but I don't think he is because we can hear the ride cymbal come down on 4. It's just a fast set of 4 notes. So that second bar, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 triplet 1. Next bar we get 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. Into the next line where he repeats the second bar pretty much, we get, well no, there's actually a lot of differences there. We get for that next line 1 and 2 and 3. So he repeats that and 1 and 2 idea and 1 and 2. Sorry, it's and 2 and 3 and if you've got the sheet print out in front of you, you'll see that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 triplet 1, 4 triplet 1. Again, he plays the 4 triplet at the end. Next bar, 1 and 2, 3, 4 and same idea we've had in the previous bar. Then same idea again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 triplets, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 triplets. The last line, just 2 more bars, 1 and 2, 3, 4 ands. The last bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And he ends it there on beat 4 where we go back to the next section, which goes back to straight eighth notes. So those bars slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 triplet. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 triplet. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 triplet. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And now let's hear it up to speed. So this next section occurs at 122. It's kind of like a middle eight bridge kind of section. Phil comes in with the drums on the and at beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We get and 4, and then he plays and 1, but he plays the and a 4 with the hi-hat. You don't have to include that one hi-hat note, but it's on the recording. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 4 and 1. And then we go into this repeating bar, which is like a half-time, well, it is a half-time drum beat. We're playing one snare drum in the bar, the classic place to place it on beat 3, and we've got this very common bass drum pattern surrounding it. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Simple as that. That gets played 8 times, 8 bars of it. Let's go to the second line though, because that's not quite true. Second line, the second bar, he changes the bass drum pattern for 1 bar. We get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So it's not and 3, it's 3 ands. 3 and 4 and 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Cool little change that. Next bar, standard groove, and then the last bar is a drum fill. And I believe this is what Phil's playing. He plays 1 and 2, opens the hi-hat there with the and of 1, and closes with the snare drum on its own on beat 2. You then come up to your 2 rack toms, right, left, and 3, and then a bass drum, then a flam on the floor tom, then a bass drum. All 8th notes, all in on the line. So we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So you don't need to hear that played slowly all the way through. Let's just hear it played up to speed. Okay, on to the second page. The next bit occurs at 1 minute 39. And it's a 2-bar pattern really. He plays up on the right cymbal now. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1. Second bar, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Those 2 pushes on the bass drum on the and of 2 and the and of 3. Third bar back to our first bar, 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Then a very similar drum fill idea for this bar here. 1 and 2, again, snare drum on its own. Then he comes up to the toms again, and 3 and I think I'm hearing a floor tom on the and of 3. It could just be and 3, because as you can see, he's playing the bass drum underneath all those notes. But I think he's playing this and 3, yes, and 3 and with the bass drum underneath, and 3 and then he just runs out the bar with the bass drum 4 and, which is kind of a unique way of doing it. So that bar slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Simple as that. So let's hear those 4 bars up to speed. Okay, at 2 minute 32 we get this cool drum fill, which he does repeat elsewhere in the song. It doesn't end it the same way, but he starts it the same way later in the song. And I think I'm hearing this. I think he's playing 1 E and a 2. The bit I'm not sure about is whether it's and a or just 1 E and or 1 E and a, and it's just a ghost note. I can't. The version I heard, it was low in the mix, so I couldn't be 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure 1 E and a 2. It sounds cool. 1 E and a 2. So we get 1 E and a 2, and then back up to the same tom. You could use a different tom if you like. It doesn't matter. And 3 and the flam on the floor tom 4 and. You can see Phil's doing that same idea again, where he's letting the bass drum run out the rest of the bar. So slowly, 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 1 E and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And up to speed. Okay, this next bit's really cool. It occurs at 2:48. Phil moves to the bell of the ride cymbal. The first bar, very simple. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Second bar though, we get these little pushes with the bass drum and snare drum. 1 and 2, 3 and then we get the 4 E and 4 E and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 E, 1. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 E and 1. Third bar, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. The fourth bar, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 E. So he comes off the bell for beat 4 to give his right hand time to move to a crash cymbal straight afterwards. 4 E and 4 E on the E of beat 4. So slowly, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 E. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E. And now up to speed. Right, 303, he moves to the hi-hats, and we get rather tricky to read off the page, but if you've got the song going in your head, it's not so bad. The reason I say it's a bit tricky is because it's got all these upbeats on the bass drum, on the ands, and if you're playing the part on its own, just the drums, you'll lose where beat 1 is usually, or I certainly found myself questioning where beat 1 after the fourth bar was. But you'll see what I mean. With the music it makes more sense. He's playing 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and. So we get 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and on the hi-hat, and the bass drum's going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and. Next bar continues that idea. 1 and 2 E and 3 and then he plays this 4 E. So it's right left, open hi-hat on the E, 4 E. And the bass drum comes down with that open hi-hat note, 4 E and. So just before the and of 4, so it's kind of like, whoa, where did that come from? So the bass drum in that bar is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E, like a little push. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E. Hi-hat stays open for the whole of that beat, 4 E and 1, and it closes in bar 3 where we get the same as the first bar, except we don't get 4 E and at the end. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and. And then the last bar, he plays 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I've just written it, the closing of the hi-hats on their own, but you might want to maintain the right hand at the same time as when it closes. That's up to you. I don't think he does it on the recording. I think he just plays 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a flam on the end there just before beat 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So slowly, 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E, 1 and 2 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And now up to speed. Okay, we've got another stab section, 3:45. And the first bar, Phil plays 1 and 2 and. I don't think he plays the hi-hat with those two snare drum notes. 1 and 2 and on their own, and then 3 and, it's kind of weird having a hi-hat open on its own there, 3 and, but then the second one does go with the bass drum, 4 and, so 3 and 4 and. Then the next bar we get 1 and 2, a 3 and 4, a little snare drum on the of 2 there before beat 3. Bar 3 is exactly the same as bar 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And then this last bar is an interesting drum fill. We play 1 and 2, but what I think he does here is he plays 2E, 2E. That E straight after the snare drum on 2, because you do hear the hi-hat being played on 2, so he hasn't come down to the snare drum at that point. 2E, he's played that left hand there as a ghost note, kind of a quieter note. Don't worry about it too much, you can just leave out the E, because then you really hear the snare drum coming on the and of 2. But if you listen carefully, you can hear something there. 2E, and then ignoring the bass drum, because it makes it a little bit harder to play this initially. So we get 2E and 3E and So just come down to the snare drum after that. 2E and 3E and then he ends the drum fill with 4E and down 2 sets of toms. I chose the 2 lowest, I believe that's what he used. With the bass drum underneath though, we get 1 and 2E and 3E and 4E and I almost slipped up there. It's and 4 and at the end of the bar. That's really not important. You can play any bass drum pattern you like through that. If I was playing it, I'd probably just play all the bass drum notes so I don't have to think about it. 1 and 2E and 3E and 4E and that'd be much easier to play rather than 1 and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1. Not that it's that much harder, it's just you're having to hold off the bass drum foot there. So slowly those 4 bars, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1. And I instinctively just played the bass drum all the way through there accidentally. Anyway, let's hear it properly, up to speed. Okay, this next section on the page 3 occurs at 4 minute 29, and it's in the triplet section we talked about previously. We just get these interesting stabs. So the first bar, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, a 1, and 1 should be counted. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, and he goes in from there, and 1 and 1 and 1 trip, the trip of beat 1, the middle note of the triplet. So we get a and 1 triplet 2 and 1 triplet 2, which then gets repeated from, because we moved into the second bar there, from the and of beat 3, and of beat 2, sorry, and 3 triplet 4. And it ends with a 1 and 1 at the end. So slowly, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 triplet 2 and 3 triplet 4 and 1. And let's hear that up to speed. So this last section occurs at 4 minute 40, and I wouldn't be surprised if this catches a lot of people out when they're playing along to this, because there's some odd time signatures being thrown in here. So we get the first bar leading into it, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and he continues that idea from the previous example, and 1 triplet 2, but into that second bar, which is, I've chosen to write it as a bar of 3, 4. That simply means there's 3 beats in the bar rather than 4. So we're just counting 3 beats, and it continues 1 triplet, 2 and 3 triplets. But at that point, we then go into the third bar, which has also got 3 beats in it. But you'll hear the melody change. You're using the new the downbeat of beat 1 in bar 3 as the new downbeat of the song, the new starting point of the melody. So we get 1 and then he plays on the floor tom 2 triplets. 2 triplet 3, 2 triplet 3 and 2 triplet 3 and. So then we go back into 4/4. But let me just go over that again because it was all broken up. Those first 3 lines, bars, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 triplet 2 and 3 triplet 1, 2 triplet 3 and. Then the next line, back to 4 beats per bar. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And then for the second bar there, he goes into quarter note triplets. So between the floor tom and your second highest tom, and the bass drum as well, I believe, we're playing 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3. Don't worry about it too much, you just got the song to help you memorise that rhythm, but if you want to know exactly what's going on, we're playing every second 8th note triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. That's the definition of quarter note triplets, playing every other 8th note within the triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3. So we get da, 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 then 4 and into the last bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then those ideas kind of get repeated towards the end of the song. So let me do those all those bars again slowly. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 triplet, 2 and 3 triplet, 1, 2 triplet, 3 and 4 and 1. I counted accidentally there into beat 4, it should have been back to beat 1. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And now let's hear it up to speed. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, feel free to email me, rob@drumsoftheword.com. Don't forget to download the free PDF that came with this lesson. Again, the link is beneath this video. And you might want to consider signing up to become an online member at my website. And what I currently offer for $97 is a full year's online access to every single full video song lesson I've ever recorded and transcribed. And that's over 400, coming up to 450 now, famous and popular songs on the website already. Unlike this lesson where I just taught you the main parts, in my full song lessons I teach you every single note from start to finish. You get the fully transcribed PDF drum charts. And like I said, I've got over 400 famous and popular songs on the website already. As a thank you for signing up and give you access to hundreds more videos, teaching you many famous drum beats, fills and even drum solos. I give you 3 ebooks I've written over the years containing, guess what? That's right, hundreds more famous drum beats, fills and solos. And then over the year of your subscription, you also gain instant online access to all the new material that I upload for my members. And I record new lessons every week unless I'm ill or on holiday. So you've got lots of cool stuff to look forward to over the year of your subscription. But if you've got any questions about any of that, feel free to email me, rob@drumsoftheword.com. And until our next drum lesson together, coming soon, toodle pip and happy drumming to you.